Welcome to everyone to tonight's special council meeting on 16th of July 2025, and I declare this meeting open at 6:08. Welcome to those in the gallery and to our staff here tonight and councillors. Just like to begin with our opening. The City of Swan acknowledges the traditional custodians of this region, the Whadjuk people of the Noongar Nation, and their continuing connection to the land, waters and community. And we pay our respects to elders past, present and their descendants. The terms and conditions of entry into this meeting are posted on the door as you enter. Please ensure that you have read by them prior to attending and abide by them. Attendance and apologies. We have all council members in attendance tonight. We have an apology from Councillor Ringo and also Councillor Singh. Part 4 is declarations of financial proximity interests and interests affecting impartiality. We have no declarations submitted at this time. Are there any council members that need to submit a declaration of interest? No, if you do, please just hand that up to the CEO and the forms are just under your desk. Part 5, public question time. Questions and answers recorded in the minutes of the meeting may be summarised in accordance with the Local Government Administration Regulations of 1996. Part 5.1 is answers to questions which were taken on notice, and there are nil. We move to 5.1.1, which is questions of which due notice has been given. We've not received any questions at this point. Is there anyone in the gallery that is not registered wishing to ask a question relating to items in the agenda? No? Thank you. We move to part 6, which is deputations. We also do not have any registered deputations for this evening. Part 7, reports, 7.1.1, which is the adoption of corporate business plan. I will need a council member to please move the officer's recommendation.
Question before we do that.
Question.
Madam Mayor, I did submit 2 alternate motions for this meeting, and I have had a reply, but I'd like an explanation from the CEO as to why they're not on the agenda as certainly in the public interest.
Thank you, Mr. CEO.
Thank you, and as the Deputy Mayor is well aware, he's received 2 detailed written responses affirming that his proposed alternatives were contrary to meeting procedures, local law, and as such they were ruled out of order.
And can you explain why?
Thank you. I had explained why in the detailed email responses you received.
So could you please explain to council why?
Through the chair, where a person submits an alternate motion which is the same or similar to a motion that's previously been resolved on by the council, in your case the motion contained the materials with the substance of which were your alternate motion debated and resolved at 28th of April. In accordance with meeting procedures 2.94F, the matter is the same or similar, has been decided on by council that can't be considered again within 3 months. Now, if I could just simply say, the wording in the meeting procedures does not say it has to be word for word, but where the substance is the same, regardless of how it's nuanced with additional pieces, that is the substance of the resolution council has made. And that's why you've received written advice, including legal advice from the city's executive manager and the general counsel, confirming that the meeting procedures would be breached if you tried to move those alternate motions, and you have received that advice in writing.
So I guess the question is, did my previous motions propose to create a new reserve fund? The answer is no.
Mr. CEO.
Beg your pardon? So I come back. As I said, the requirement to rule out is where the substance or intent, regardless of what was proposed in your alternate motion, where the substance includes materials which are the same that have been debated on by council, for instance, the exclusion of OPEX or CAPEX items, which are the substantive nature of your motion, that's been resolved by council. It does not need to include every... Someone's got a phone playing, Madam Mayor. It does not need to include every individual element. That's not necessary. And for those reasons, as affirmed by the legal advice, the motions were out of order. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
So, through you, Madam Mayor, I didn't quite get an answer there. Did my previous motions create a new reserve fund? So my proposed motion did create a new reserve fund. Did my previous motions create a new reserve fund?
Point of order, Madam Mayor.
Just one moment, Deputy Mayor. Councillor Bowman, what's your point of order?
7.1 relevance. I don't see any motion on the run sheet, and I don't understand where we're at, because I believe we're at item 7.1.1 if I've been following correctly.
So at 7.1,
I was saying that my understanding is we're at 7.1.1 in the
Yes.
agenda. My point of order was 7.21 relevance, which is C, because I don't see that in the agenda or on the run sheet.
thank you, Councillor Bowman. I will uphold that. We are moving back to the question. Councillor Catalano?
Can you have points of order when somebody's asking questions?
Don't think you
Mr
can.
CEO?
Thank you. A point of order may be moved at any time in the meeting as long as it relates to the substance of the meeting.
Okay.
Okay, so my next question is, did my previous motions propose to change the corporate business plan?
Mr CEO?
Through the chair, and I said that is not the essential element. The substance of your motions contained the materials which are OPEX and CAPEX, which were the substance of your motions, and they have already been resolved by council. It becomes irrelevant whether they included changes to the corporate business plan. It's irrelevant whether they included a suggestion to create a reserve fund, because all the relationships there go back to the OPEX and CAPEX items which council have already resolved upon. Now, Madam Mayor, I said that we seem to be entering discussion on a matter which isn't on the agenda at this
Thank
point
you.
in time.
A councillor may ask a question at any time, and the adoption of the rates is on the agenda. Did my previous, any of my previous motions propose to keep the rates the same, or was I proposing to change the rates?
Deputy Mayor, we've just received some advice that that is not part of tonight's agenda. So I'm going to rule that question.
Madam Mayor,
Mr.
it is
Deputy
on
Mayor.
it is on the agenda.
Deputy Mayor,
It
you
is on
had
the
the
agenda.
questions answered by the CEO. You've also received them in writing. And tonight we need to move on with the agenda, which is part 7.1.1. So I'm going to move this, we're going to continue now. 7.1.1, adoption of corporate business plan. And I will need a council member, as I've asked earlier, to move the officer's recommendation. Do I have someone to move the officer's recommendation?
Madam
Thank
Mayor,
you, Councillor
I'd like to
Jones.
move instead that we suspend
Sorry, I've just in the
orders.
moment, I'm just asked for a mover and I'll ask for a seconder.
A councillor at any time may move a motion to suspend the meeting procedures local
Thank
law,
you,
so that's what I'm
Deputy Mayor.
doing. So I'd like to move a motion under the meeting procedures local law 13.1 to suspend meeting procedures local law section 2.94F to enable a motion that is similar in intent or substance to a notice of motion or council resolution that was raised or resolved within the previous 3 months.
And what is your motion?
Well, that's it.
Oh, that was it.
That's
Sorry, it is to move that. Thank you. And the reason?
The reason was that the CEO believes my alternate motions are similar to previous motions, but I do not believe so, as my previous motion did not change the rates, did not create a new reserve fund, did not change the corporate business plan, did not adopt the corporate business plan, did not publish the corporate business plan, did not adopt the rates, did not change payment options, did not mention rubbish removal charges, and in addition, the service plan amounts are different and the CAPEX amounts are different. Thank you.
Thank you. And do I have a seconder? Councillor Howlett? I'll put that to the vote. Those in favour? So we have Councillor Catalano. Councillor Deputy Mayor Johnson and Councillor Howlett. And that is lost. Those against, sorry. Councillor Bowman, Councillor Jones, Councillor McCulloch, Councillor Miles, Councillor Zanino, Councillor Henderson, Councillor Podovnik and myself. So it's lost 383, thank you. All right, so we had Councillor Jones as the mover and I was asking for a seconder. Do I have a seconder for 7.1.1? Oh, was it? Thank you, councillor Zanino. Does any councillor wish to speak against the officer's recommendation? Thank you. Councillor Jones.
I don't wish to speak, thank you.
Thank you, councillor Zanino as the seconder. Thank you. I'll ask, is anyone against? Would you like to speak? Thanks.
Thank you. Yes, I can't support it. The corporate business plan for 4 reasons. Henry Brook Avenue is a project in here, the Nangarrow Road to Park Street. We've heard recently that people in that area have asked council for an environmental assessment to be done there, and that there are potentially drainage issues to be resolved. So we shouldn't go ahead with the project. The waste to energy, which comes under environmental, would you believe, I just cannot support any further progress towards waste to energy, which is effectively incineration. I know that, you know, the city's gone so far into it, but I mean, when you make a big mistake, you don't keep going down there. You've really got to pull back. And what I'm concerned about are the air quality problems that are going to arise from this, with the stack emissions coming in and out over the coastal plains. I just wanted to say, which I probably have said before, you know, in France now there's 14 million people who can't use their land because of their proximity to incinerators. And in New South Wales...
Thank you. Councillor Catalano, if you could just resume your seat for a moment, please. Councillor Bowman.
Item 7.21C, relevance. I don't see anything in the plan talking about other countries.
Thank you, Councillor Bowman. I'll uphold your point of order. Councillor Catalano, if we could keep it to City of Swan.
Okay, well, in New South Wales, their incinerator is 200 kilometres away from Sydney, and the incinerator in Perth is just right there, smack bang in the middle of the urban area. The other thing that concerns me about this waste to energy, this incinerator proposal that we're going to go into with this corporate plan, is that there's going to be residual fly ash, class 5 contaminants that are going to end up at Red Hill Tip there. Now, I honestly do believe, because I've looked at the licence application for that facility up there, and I really do believe that adjacent areas, Swan View, Jane Brook, Mundaring, Midland, Guildford, Middle Swan, Swan Valley, Gidgegannup, and the watercourses will ultimately be contaminated by this class 5 waste. So I cannot support it. I can't support any more spending on New Junction. Everybody knows where I stand on this, and I cannot support any more spending on it. We've already spent, I believe, in excess of $50 million, and I don't believe it's a successful project. The spending and the project has to stop. We can't deliver it. Ellenbrook Pool, well, this is a bit of a problem because the original price tag has blown out.
Thank you. I'll ask as any councillor to speak for the motion. Councillor Bowman.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Madam Mayor, I'm not going to talk about a confidential item being Ellenbrook Pool at the moment and what it may or may not cost. But Madam Mayor, Henley Brook Avenue, this council has decided on that. It has been to council. Waste to energy, this council has decided. And when I say this council, it might not be that those are on here at the moment. And it was agreed to do that. I do not believe it's a mistake that Councillor Catalano has talked about. And New Junction, whether you like it or like not, this council, being previous council as well, has decided on those, and hence the reason why they're in the plan.
Thank you, Councillor Bowman. Are there any councillors who wish to speak against the motion? Deputy Mayor.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Mayor. Look, Madam Mayor and councillors, when considering a matter like this, we need to consider the 600 submissions that we received from the community. Normally, we don't get a lot of submissions, but on this occasion, we got over 600. Why do we get so many? Because people right now are in an economic hardship situation. Many people have had their mortgage rates increased. They don't want to see the city putting up rates by even a small amount. 2% over the rate of inflation over 40 years would double the rates in real terms. That would be a doubling in real terms. Where will it stop? Councils, if we keep putting up the rates by 2% over the rate of inflation in the future, we're going to need to start bringing the rates down by 2% under the rate of inflation in order to catch up. Councillors, our community don't want rates going up by more than the rate of inflation. And when we have a budget where it is very easy to remove items from it, we should do that. Councillors, it would be very easy to get a 0% budget if we wanted it. Look at some examples. The Bank West building, $6.36 million. Councillors, we're well aware that it's almost certain that the city will probably be reconfigured. We'll end up with a North Swan and a South Swan. And for that reason, we don't need more staff accommodation in Midland. We could easily reconfigure the existing admin building. Henley Brook Avenue, $7 million, $180,000 contribution towards a polo club, of all things. I don't think people in Ellenbrook having trouble paying their bills would be very pleased by that. New Junction, $1.7 million. All right, councillors, $1.7 million. Have we actually seen any concrete investment into, I do mean concrete, councillors, in the Midland Oval other than the Catalyst building? Now, councillors, if there are 70 flats in there, and assuming that they're all paying the median rate of the City of Swan, which is $1,300, my understanding is that would be about $100,000 a year in rates. Councillors, that in no way is any compensation or any realistic rate of return on an investment, as Councillor Catalan has pointed out, of $50 million. Councillors, it has to stop. We have to start to get to a realistic budget. I have put one forward, but unfortunately it's been suppressed. Councillors, we're here to represent the community. We know for certain that they don't want the rate rise going up by 2% over the rate of inflation. In fact, I know for certain they don't want the rate rise going up at all. Anybody I meet at any public meeting I go to, or people talking to me one-on-one, often come up to me and tell me I'm doing the right thing by opposing this. Councillors, it's the wrong thing to do, and we're going to have to correct it later. It's a serious problem. So, councillors, I'm going to be voting against this. It's up to you to do what you want to do.
That's your 3 minutes. I'll ask anyone like to speak for the motion. Councillor Henderson.
Thank you. Councillors, we all go through a process. I said this the last time. The process is that we work through and develop a budget. Now, if we start in November, December, January, whenever, and you see savings such as, for instance, the arts budget and the like that has been circulated, then we can talk about those in the early stages and how we can make those savings. That's what the process is all about. So whilst there's always things in a budget that some of us don't like, stuff in here that I don't particularly like either, the realities are that we all came to an agreement on what we needed for the community. I just want to cover a point about incinerators and rubbish. It's not in the middle of suburbia, it's in a particular industrial zone. The other thing is staff accommodation. Staff accommodation, well, pretty simple. Let's say this city was broken up. That's office space, commercial office space, you could sell it and make $1. So the investment in the longer term, it's a win-win. And I think importantly, we all have to understand that a budget and the development of a budget and our corporate business plan that goes with that is a collective effort. And whilst we need more in some cases, a lot more, we have compromises, and that's the reality of this. We have to go along with the compromise. We've got to work with the community to get the best outcome for them, and I'm satisfied that we've done that.
Thank you, Councillor Henderson. Would anyone like to speak against the motion? Anyone like to speak for the motion? No? Councillor Jones?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. As I said in the previous meeting, a large proportion of the responses that were sent in with regards to rates we received followed a template. Second point, Midland Oval. No return to date. I believe if we'd acted earlier without the interruptions, maybe we'd have a thriving Midland Oval. Councillor Johnson also mentioned a reduction in expenditure, yet last week he was pretty keen to increase the citizenships by $250,000. Thank you.
Thank you, councillor Jones.
Point of order. Something that's not factually correct. I did not propose to increase it by $250 million, not at all.
I'm sure that was just an honest mistake. Thank you for pointing out that point of order. Uphold that. Thank you, councillor Jones. Councillors will now put that to the vote. Those in favour? Councillor Bowman, councillor Jones, councillor McCulloch, councillor Miles, councillor Zanino, councillor Henderson, councillor Prodovnik, and myself. Those against? Councillor Catalano, Deputy Mayor, and councillor Howlett. So the motion is carried 8-3. Thank you. Councillors, we move to 7.2.1, which is adoption of the annual budget for 2025-26. And I'll also need a council member to move the officer's recommendation. Councillor Henderson, thank you. Okay, and so know about the amendment. Say with the amendment.
Madam Mayor, as noted by the staff note on page 3 of the run sheet, officer note recommendation 1.6 and 1.7, the recommendation been changed to correct to reflect 2025-26 financial years.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Thank you, councillor Jones. Does anyone wish to speak against the officer's recommendation or debate it? Deputy Mayor? Councillor Henderson.
Nothing to add at this stage, having already done so previously.
Thank you. Councillor Jones is the seconder.
Nothing to add, thanks.
Councillor wish to speak against the officer's recommendation, Deputy Mayor?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Mayor. Councillors, councillors need to consider the long-term impact of their decisions. And putting rates up by 2% over the rate of inflation is quite an extraordinary thing to do. So let's just explain what's going on here. We've got...
Point of order.
Deputy Mayor, if you could just resume your seat, please. Councillor Bowman, what's your point of order?
7.21F, presenting false information. We're not putting up the rates by 2% over the CPI.
Thank you, councillor Bowman. I'll uphold that point of order. Deputy Mayor, if you can make that correction.
I was just getting onto that. We're putting up rates by 3.8%. And the rate of inflation, the national rate of inflation to May is 2.1%. So as Councillor Bowman points out.
Point of order, Madam Mayor.
Councillor, just a moment. Deputy Mayor, if you could resume your seat, please.
7.21F, presentation of false and misleading information. The CPI quoted by Councillor Johnson is not correct.
Thank you. And what was the correction then?
It was 2.8 for the April per CPI.
Per CPI. Thank you.
So yeah, I actually looked up the Australian Bureau of Statistics site yesterday, and it said 2.1% is the national CPI to May for the whole 12 months. So those are the facts, councillors. So we're putting up our rates by 1.7% over the rate of inflation. That's quite a significant and serious thing to do. And councillors, whenever I raise this with members of the community, they are actually quite shocked by it, particularly when we had 600 submissions opposing it. Councillors, you go out there into the community and you ask people about what they think the rate rise should be, and they will tell you zero. So we've had some quite negative feedback about the FOGO rollout. We've had a lot of negative feedback over the years about the Midland Oval, and we're getting a lot of negative feedback about verge mowing and numerous other things. Councillors, people don't believe that we're doing anything to justify it. Now, we are doing good things. That's why we've got a budget of $200 million. But in that budget, there are things that we don't need to be doing and we can be reducing. So, councillors, we need to listen to our community. We are there to represent them. We're not there to represent the staff or any other organisation or the CEO. We're there to work it out for ourselves. And councillors, I point out, I've taken the trouble to develop my own budget. I've worked out what the budget should look like. I've worked out how to cut it, and no one has ever told me that anything I've done is wrong. I've never had any feedback from the staff
or from the CEO telling me I've calculated it incorrectly. It is completely feasible to have a 0% rate rise and still continue the essential services of the city. Where we're going to end up with, as I said previously, is we're going to end up having to reduce rates by about 2% each year at some point in the future when we get a change of council, in order to rectify the damage caused by putting rates up by 2% over the rate of inflation each year. That's the issue, councillors. After 40 years, you've doubled in real terms, real money coming out of people's pocket. The rates, we can't afford to do that. At every level of government, we should be seeking to be more efficient and to reduce taxes, not to increase
Thank you,
them.
Deputy Mayor, and that's your 3 minutes. I'll ask anyone like to speak for the motion. Anyone like to speak against the motion? Councillor Catalano.
Yes, thank you. It was quite some time ago that I put my comments in about the proposed budget. Anyway, didn't get much feedback, but the thing is that everything just rolled on, all the spending rolled on. But the thing that really got me about the argument for the rates increase was that we need it because otherwise we can't have asset renewal. And the whole problem was that I thought asset renewal was built into the rates, in fact. So that should have been done such a long time ago. In fact, it should have been done all the way through, that I thought it was such a weak argument. And then I see in the corporate business plan that we've now got this $30 million proposed for the Ellenbrook pool. $30 million. I think in a way we should be honest with our ratepayers and say to them, look, if you want a pool in Ellenbrook, you have to pay extra rates. But unfortunately, that might not wash with people in Brabham, even though they might use the pool, because the thing is that they want they want the rates money spent, the rates money that they're paying, spent on rangers to fix up the parking solutions, on security and on maintenance, because there is a lot of maintenance that needs to be done in that suburb. And we had a meeting about that only just this week. And that suburb is not alone in that request. So the thing is that we are not getting our basics right. We are not putting the rates to what it is supposed to be for. We're putting rates to expensive projects that we cannot afford, and then turning around and saying to ratepayers, oh, well, we had to put the rates up because we've got to include asset renewal. That already should have been covered. Okay, if you have to put the rates up to fund these expensive projects, be honest with people and tell them just how much these expensive projects are going to cost. And that is why I cannot support the budget tonight.
Thank you, Councillor Catalano. I'll ask, is there anyone like to speak for the motion? Councillor Bowman.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I wasn't going to speak tonight, but unfortunately now I have to. Madam Mayor, long-term impact. This is what we're looking at. Madam Mayor, when we talk about, Councillor Johnson talked about verge mowing. The reason we don't do as many verge mowings is 0% rate increases. That was one of the trade-offs. Madam Mayor, talking about finding savings. To throw a 50% saving reduction in governance and then ask the CEO to work it out is not identifying it. Madam Mayor, asset renewals. I have been banging on about this for 4 years, so I'm glad to hear that some are now talking about it. Asset renewals are not built in to the rates. That's why our older suburbs are suffering and not getting renewals. But if we want to reduce rates, if we want to cut, we cut the services. I've said it time and time again, councillors. I'm happy to support a rate reduction or no increase, but you need to find the savings in the services. But when it comes to the time, those who stand up to say yes don't vote for it. And I can name some if you like, Madam Mayor, but I've only got 3 minutes. Madam Mayor, talking about unnecessary expenses. There was a notice of motion that came before this council 1 or 2 weeks ago that the Deputy Mayor himself wanted, because he thinks that citizenships should be held in the town hall, and the figure we were given, councillors, was it was going to cost
point of
another
order.
200.
Point of order, Madam Mayor.
One moment, Deputy Mayor.
Yeah.
Councillor Bowman, if you could resume
We're
your
not
seat,
talking
please.
about citizenship
Deputy
ceremonies.
Mayor, I haven't finished speaking yet. If you could
Carry on.
resume your seat, thank you. Councillor Bowman, Deputy Mayor, what is your point of order?
Yeah. So basically,
What is your point of order?
7.21F, the presentation of false or misleading information.
And what was
And
the false or
also,
misleading?
7.21C, a speaker's remarks not being relevant to the motion being debated. We're not talking about citizenship ceremonies.
Deputy Mayor, the point 7.2.1, what was said?
7.2.1C, you may recall, Madam Mayor, if you were listening, that Councillor Bowman...
Beg your pardon? Could you just tell me what the example was that was given?
Yeah, Councillor Bowman is talking about citizenship ceremonies, and that is not on the agenda.
Councillor Bowman, if you'd like to resume, I'll uphold that point of order. If we could keep it please to the budget.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Madam Mayor. Madam Mayor, I was giving examples of cost savings, and there was discussion about cost savings. And I gave an example of the opposite, where a councillor, Deputy Mayor himself, wanted to increase the cost. That is the opposite of cost savings. And it was going to cost $250,000, Madam Mayor. $250,000.
Point of order.
Just one moment, Councillor Bowman, if you could resume your seat. Deputy Mayor, what is your point of order?
7.2, point of order. Section 1, the following are to be recognised as valid points of order. F, the presentation of false or misleading information. The amount was not $250,000. The estimate that was explained during the debate was about $100,000, which is easily affordable. Thank you.
Through you, Mr CEO, can I get some clarification, please?
I think Dr McQuaid can confirm the amount that was contained in the additional cost.
The total amount to move it to Midland Town Hall was in the order of $357,000, which is about $250,000 more than what it would cost.
Thank you, Dr McQuaid. Or you don't have a point of order, Deputy Mayor. If you'd like to continue, Councillor Bowman.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Madam Mayor, when we look at budgets, if identified savings are put forward and they're real savings, not just throw the dice and hope for the best, not just pluck out 50% governance, where I previously said all exec wages go there. Are we suggesting cutting those? Madam Mayor, I'll support these savings when I can be shown what they are, but we haven't, Madam Mayor.
Councillor Bowman. Councillors ask, is anyone against the motion? Anyone who'd like to speak against the motion? Does anyone who'd like to speak for the motion? Thank you, Councillor McCulloch.
Thank you, Mayor. Councillors, we're yet to this time of the year, and I suppose you could say it's a win-win for some. We fought for a 0% rate rise. We didn't get it, but we fought for our community. Well, I can tell you that I'm fighting and that I represent community too, and that I've heard from my community, and I want to have a win for my community in not just 2 months or 2 years, but in 5, 10 or 15 years. So it might not be a win-win for me in this realm, but the fact is that our community needs to know that not only them, but their children and their grandchildren are secure and have a legacy left for them in the local government area that they live in. The references made regarding the carving up of the City of Swan, what discussion have councillors had with the Minister for Local Government to indicate that the downsizing of the City of Swan referred to is imminent? I don't know. The negative feedback we've had across different areas. Yes, we've got community that provide feedback. We have community that give us positive feedback. And we know sometimes that community's opinions and viewpoints, they are valid and they are specific to how they are feeling. But on a bigger scale for future generations, there is a bigger picture, a bigger vision, a bigger legacy and a bigger responsibility. And I'm sorry, but we need to keep that at the forefront. CPI It's relevant to local government, but what's in that basket actually isn't the costs for local government. It is something that is loosely attached, and if you read through it and do your homework, it is a loose, flaccid kind of connection, and it's something that I think should be considered. It's just ridiculous. You know the impact of 3 years of 0% rate rise? You've seen it in our briefings. You've seen that number in red. I'm sure you have. That's scary. We need to look at what we are doing now. We have so many complexities in the City of Swan that many local governments across our nation do not and will not ever have to consider. As a growth council with the complexities from rural right through to growth and urban, industrial, tourism, there are so many. Like I've said, it's like a frog in a blender, and I tell you, it takes precision. It takes knowledge and experience from our staff who are working for our community as well to actually allow things to happen in the right way to ensure that we are getting things done. Councillors, I'm a little bit gobsmacked. I'm going to leave it there.
Thank you, Councillor McCulloch. I'll ask if anyone would like to speak against the motion. Is there any councillor who'd like to speak for the motion? No, your right of reply, Councillor Henderson.
Thank you, councillors. You know, I've just got so much information I can work with here. And I've only got 3 minutes. I could ask for an extension. But councillors, I want to get down to the real bottom line for this. There's opposing arguments here. There's one argument saying that we have community complaining about the mowing of the verges. And then in the next breath, there's an argument saying we shouldn't spend any money on verges, we should cut rates. That just simply doesn't work. So that's the first thing. And I just use verges as an example because there's a whole stack of similar examples. The other thing is that if I were to send out a MailChimp program to, say, 1,000 people or something and say, hey, put a submission in, then we might get 600, might get 1,000 submissions. Interestingly, that we got that many this year. The key thing here is that it was touched on by a couple of councillors, is that when you have 3 years of no rate increases, what happens? You get behind the 8 ball real fast. We did that because we had really tough times in the community. I'm not saying they're not tough now, they are. But the fact of the matter is that if the community demand that we get on with these things that they expect, that means that we have to at the very least, have a rate increase that's equivalent to inflation. And the fact of the matter is that we have new inventory, new works out there being constructed at the time now. If we don't put away for them for the future now, that's why we have the extra 1%. We've technically put away in the past for works that we're doing now. So we've got to put away a little bit more than inflation. Now, with only 45 seconds left to go, it's looking like I'm going to ask for the extension. The fundamentals, councillors, and this is the key, the fundamentals are that we've got to be able to balance a budget. We've had the opportunities, we had 6 odd months to do that. Now, if councillors can't come to terms with that and at the end of it have a workable outcome for our community, then we have a problem. Fundamentals are simple. We've all worked hard to get a good outcome for our community. In reality, it could have actually been a lot more. It could have been 4 or 5%. But we've done the right thing, we've worked hard, and here we are now. Please support this motion.
Thank you, Councillor Henderson. Councillors, now put that to the vote. Those in favour? Councillor Bowman, Councillor Jones, Councillor McCulloch, Councillor Miles, Councillor Zanino, Councillor Henderson, Councillor Prodovnik, and myself, and those against, Councillor Catalano, Deputy Mayor Johnson, and Councillor Howlett. And the motion is carried. 8-3. Well, thank you very much, councillors, and to those in the gallery. That brings us to the closure of the end of our special council meeting. For those watching online, thank you for joining us, and that concludes our meeting at 6:41. Thank you.